Hello and welcome back to the Wildlife Conservation Career Series. Today I'm going to go over a CV and why the heck this is so important and what the heck it is and how it is different from a resume. And I'm going to follow it with my top 2 strategies of what you definitely have to include in your CV to be noticed and one thing to definitely avoid. I review a lot of CVs and resumes, mostly CVs and applications. And even, as a reviewer now, the ones that catch my eye have certain qualities about them. And it's not fair, right? Because regardless of somebody's qualifications and experience, passions, sometimes those do get overlooked. So this has got to be in your skill set of how to write a strong CV. A lot of times this is your first introduction to somebody that you want to work with or an organization you want to work with. So this is so important. And I'm going to spend lots of other career lesson episodes on this because it is so important. And it just emphasizes the importance of your writing skills and how crucial that is to your wildlife conservation career, no matter which level you're aiming for or where you're at. And it's something you can always improve on. So a CV is a curriculum vitae. So it is a breakdown of your professional and academic life. It is kind of your diary of this is what I've done. These are my credentials. These are all the experiences I've had. This is my proof and my evidence that I have all of these things that are going to be relevant to this position, organization, or whatever. So it's a breakdown of your history, your schooling, your academics, your education, your professional experiences. These are both paid and unpaid experiences. Your publications, presentations, and professional services and activities. I won't get into all the details of those. We'll save that for another lesson. But that's what a CV is. It should be 2 pages, which seems like, how do you summarize all of that? You have to be to the point, which is also a huge skill to be able to summarize, which I feel sometimes I'm like 20 something years and I have to fit it on 2 pages. But you're going to highlight certain things and then you're going to get invited for that interview where you can talk about it more thoroughly. So realize you don't have to have it all, but you do have to be able to summarize the highlights and the important things that you're trying to portray and to communicate to the reader of your CV. So a resume, on the other hand, is usually much more specific for a certain position requiring a certain skill set. So resume is definitely more catered. You're going to pick out those skill sets or those experiences that are directly related to what this job or this opportunity is asking for. So a resume, every time you apply to something, a resume is definitely tweaked more than your CV. But this is a little bit of a misconception. So if you watch a lot of things about CVs and resumes, a lot of times they say, your CV is what your CV is. It's not personalized at all. It's just your history. And this is your academic and professional background. I like to challenge that because I think no matter what you apply for, we want to see personality and we want to see a person behind those 2 pages. So, which brings me to my next tip. So my 2 tips and strategies. So you get noticed. You need to have that impact within 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds sometimes to make a first impression. And I'm going to help you do that. Number 1, and this is regardless of what the heck is in your CV, is the structure. The visual aspects of your CV are so important. It tells us a lot if you can structure something that's easy to read, easy to comprehend, and not frustrating for the reader. If it's frustrating, pass it on by. So saying that, your different sections have to be broken down into sections. It's not just 2 pages. The last thing you want to see, if we ask for a 2-page CV, is you reduce the font and just expand the margins and push everything in there because you have a lot to say. The challenge is the opposite. How do you craft this so you actually have empty spaces? And that's difficult. So you need to use bold or underline to separate the different sections: education, work experience, etc. And not just bold or underline, you also need space between those different sections because you need to give the reader a time to comprehend that section and move on. Empty space is an important concept for a CV that's really difficult to do, but it gets noticed. Appropriate margins, right? Space on the margins, space between sections, space for the reader to have some sense of peace as they're looking through these. That's part of the structure. The other part of the structure is the font that you use, right? It shouldn't be overly large. It shouldn't be tiny. 11, 12 point font, something very standard. You don't want to get all fancy here, and not different fonts for different sections. So make it structured, neat, compact, separating out the different space, the different sections, and having empty spaces in between. Structure is so important. Take a look at yours, print it off. Is it appealing? Does it make you want to read it? Does it bring some uneasiness? Edit it, right? This is a chance for you to craft a really beautiful CV. It does matter, it really does. Okay, structure. Second part, this is the part where I think it's important you actually do include something more personal here. So after you have your name, your heading, okay, the next section is going to be your professional profile. If you feel like that you're at an entry level, then just write profile or summary. So what this does, this is a 3 to 6 sentence section, sometimes a little longer, but don't go on and on. This is summarizing everything about you, and that is so hard to do. But it gives the reader a great idea of who you are, what your background is, what's your experience, okay? So this is your professional profile. And dang, I love when I see a CV with this because it summarizes things up and it makes me interested to then read through the rest of it to see where those different pieces fit in. Okay, so you have your professional profile. And this is how it brings more personal characteristics and qualities to a CV that otherwise can seem like just a 2-page, everybody has it. It brings some personality to it. I don't care which industry you're in, this is a very important aspect. And it also gives you a chance to really cater it to the specific position you're applying for. So that can seem sometimes more difficult to do if you're just submitting a CV. So by doing this, you can really pull out whatever it is that job description, opportunity, whatever the qualifications or whatever they were asking for. This is where you pick out your qualities and attributes and how that fits in. And you use those same keywords, right, in your professional profile. So you're making it very specific to the specific thing you're applying to. So yes, you will have a different CV or a resume. I'm really highlighting CVs here because it's more relevant in this field. You'll have a different one for each thing you apply to. So is that a lot? Yeah. But should you address and approach each opportunity as like your only one? Absolutely. And that will come through in how you craft your CV. So structure, professional profile to give it some personality and to really summarize. And what that does, it also just catches that reader's attention immediately. Like I said, you have 5 seconds. So if that's at the top 1/4 of your CV, so your name, information, contact information, and then immediately after your professional profile, that gets their attention and then they'll read on. You only have that amount of time and it's going to look perfectly structured. You're in. You're in for at least the next page, actually turning the page. And that's a big deal. Okay. The one thing you should totally avoid is the soft skills. So don't include, even in your professional profile, don't there or anywhere, if you have in a section of core skills or things like that, do not include communication, teamwork, hardworking. So these are soft skills that alone have no context. Who says you have those skills? Is that you just writing them down, typing them up? If you're going to put those, there needs to be evidence-based commitment or proof of those skills. So everybody should have those skills coming to the table. If it is a true skill and you feel like it sets you apart, you should have other experiences or credentials around those skill sets that you can put in other parts of your CV. So then we hope you have all those skill sets, right? And those skill sets, those soft skills, are so important, but they're not appropriate as standalone skills in a CV. We expect you to have those, and they look like fillers. So I'd rather you err on the side of a one-page or short CV that's super to the point, structured, nice, professional profile, and just as you, rather than adding a bunch of fluff. Okay, so stay away from those soft skills, or craft a way to turn those soft skills into evidence-based credentials or qualifications based on experiences you've had. So for example, if you say, I speak well, or I'm a good communicator, well, did you give a presentation somewhere? So with maybe a follow-up Q&A. So something like that you can list as a presenter for blah, 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 that shows that you're utilizing your speaking skills and your communication skills. So that's just one example of like an evidence-based commitment over a soft skill. So avoid those soft skills. So, all right, that was a lot, but there's just so much I could tell you about CVs and crafting a CV and what to include and what to avoid. But I just wanted to go over quickly differences between a CV and resume, how you should, the main ideas of a CV, and then primarily that 5 seconds that you have to wow your structure and professional profile, and then avoiding those soft skills and instead implementing them into your core experiences or qualifications based on evidence-based commitment. All right, hope you enjoyed our lesson today, and please hit subscribe and notifications so you can receive more of these lessons every week. So, all right, be kind to each other as always, be kind to our planet, be kind to animals. Have a great week.